Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Silver Creek School Corporation's regular scheduled school board meeting. Today is June 27th, 2023. At this time, if we could please rise and call the meeting to order at 6:30. Mr. Basham will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Dr. Balmer in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we give you thanks that we can join tonight. We pray for your wisdom to help us to make the best decisions for our students, our staff, and our community. We're so thankful for all the exciting things that are going on at Silver Creek School Corporation. We know those are the blessings you are sending our way. We ask that you'll continue to help us stay focused on what's most important, which is our students, and preparing them for the world and to be successful. We thank you for our wonderful staff. We pray for students and our staff as they are on summer break, and we just pray that you will keep them safe and continue to bless our school corporation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, roll call. Mr. Basham.
Here.
Ms. Bright.
Here.
Ms. Franklin.
Here.
Mr. Groen.
Present.
I'm also present. We have quorum. Dr. Briggs, any emergency additions and revisions to the agenda?
Yes, good evening. I have several revisions and additions to the agenda. Let's start on page 1 under number 4. Would request to add number 5, condolences. Condolences to Dave Pappenhouse and his wife Jessica for the passing of his father, Charles Pappenhouse. Moving on to consent agenda, what is now number 8. Under letter B, personnel, under 1, certified, under appointments, I request to add letter G, Ivy Livers, Silver Creek High School, new teacher orientation representative, position control number 90003, effective 7/19/23. Request to add letter H, Kylie Mean, Silver Creek Elementary School, 3rd grade teacher, position control number 30019, effective 7/25/23. And letter I, Candace Kalen, Silver Creek Elementary School, 5th grade teacher, position control number 30029, effective 7/25/23. Moving on, also under number 1, certified, under number 2, leaves, request to add letter B, John Bile, Silver Creek Middle School, teacher and athletic director, position control 40002, effective 7/27/23 to 9/29/23.
Does he have 2 teacher control? Does he have 2 position control numbers for that one being athletic director?
I'm not sure. I can only say no, since it's only listed once there, but that's a great question. I will confirm that here during the meeting. Moving on to under letter C, other. This first one is not, I don't believe is it's probably reflected in the board's hard copy. Under letter C, other, request to approve. What was Roman numeral 5, interactive TV proposal for Silver Creek Primary, Silver Creek Elementary, and Silver Creek Middle School. I request to split those up. Those were actually 3 different quotes. So we would have Roman numeral 5, interactive TV proposal for Silver Creek Primary School, Roman numeral 6, interactive TV proposal for Silver Creek Elementary School, and Roman numeral 7, interactive TV proposal for Silver Creek Middle School. That would then shift number 8, the public consulting group. Going down to number 13, where it says supplemental pay, we had an outline error. So I would request to add under number 13, supplemental pay, would be a new number 14, adding the following Silver Creek Middle School courses, 1 and 2, and then therefore what is now number 14 would become 15. So we would have 15, permission to seek proposals, all the way down to number 20, which is the class of 2024 senior trip. And then I would request to add Roman numeral 21, return to school plan. And just a note, this is our COVID return to school plan. There are no changes in our plan, as there has not been for several months now. However, due to federal requirements, we have to update this plan on a regular basis. And so that time of year is now. And the last request to add would be under 9, discussion action items, under letter B, action items, request for approval, request to add Roman numeral 8, approval of interest in purchasing property resolution, under that number 1, portion of parcel number 10-17-11-006.000-0031.
It looks like we also have a small change
Sorry.
under
Yep, you're
classified.
absolutely right. Yep, that would be, where was that? Okay, so going back to under personnel, under classified, under number 1, appointments, letter D, that should be Silver Creek Middle School and not Silver Creek Elementary School. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And I believe that is it.
I believe so.
Thank you.
All right, you heard the, any questions on Dr. Briggs' emergency additions and revisions to the agenda? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Also move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up, action item number 3, which is approval of minutes from the 5:22 work session, the 5:23 executive session, 5:23 regular work session, and 5:23 regular school board meeting, and then also on the June 12th work session board minutes. Do we have a motion to approve all of those?
I so move.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Any recognition or presentation for this evening?
Nope, none this evening.
All right. As Dr. Briggs mentioned, we added number 5, condolences to Dave Pappenhouse and his wife Jessica on the passing of Dave's father, Charlie, and all of our thoughts and prayers are with you. All right, Dr. Baumer, financial and operations update.
Yes, good evening. Busy time for the finance and operations. And we're moving on to our highly anticipated monthly financial report. We'll begin by looking at both of our 2 major funds, which are our education and operation fund. So beginning with the education fund and beginning our budget year in 2023, we have a beginning balance of $4,970,832.27. Our year-to-date revenue, our revenue through May, $9,638,001.41. Our expenditures through May, $8,999,325.76. And our ending balance for our education fund as of May, $5,609,507.92. For our approved amount for our appropriation by the DLGF, we are 39.3% spent. Expected spend at this point is about 41.6. A couple things to keep in mind with your education fund. We will continue to see expenditures increase, especially as we add staff for next school year. But you'll also see some increase in revenue as well, because the new approved state budget, the 2-year budget, we'll start seeing increased revenue from the increased support that we're going to be getting from our state for our state tuition support. As far as on the appropriation side, as expenditures increase from adding staff, which is common for a growing district, we may exceed that appropriation. We'll deal with that in December if that happens by filing for an additional appropriation. On the operations side, our beginning balance for budget year 2023, $3,530,127.66. Our revenue through May for operation fund, $1,577,593.43. Our expenditures through May, $3,045,569.80, with an ending balance as of May in our operation fund of $2,062,151.29. Percent spent, 36.9% in operation, and we would be expected about 41.6% again. One thing to note on your operation, you do see expenditures exceeding revenue. You'll see revenue catch back up in June. We receive our property taxes in June and December, and that's your main revenue source for your operation fund. And also, we'll also have 1 bus still to buy out of our operation fund for the school year. So you will see that percent spent for our appropriation increase as that takes place. And again, same thing with education. If we were having to move past that approved appropriation, we could file for an additional appropriation. On the finance side of things, our department's going through some restructuring as we transition some people. That seems to be a little louder. You want to start over? Raise your hand.
We're good.
Okay, we're good there. Okay. Yeah. But we begin to delegate a lot of duties, looking how that we can structure that in such a way to really meet people's strengths and weaknesses and those types of things. So a lot of great things happening as we restructure that, especially in the area of grant management. We're looking to really improve in those areas. Summer reporting is also upon us, so we began that, and it'll really increase when the fiscal year wraps up with AFR, our annual finance report, Form 9. On the operations side, I think some awesome news, something you don't hear very often. If approved here later, our meal prices for next school year will not increase. I'll repeat that because I don't think you hear that said at all right now. No increase for meal prices if approved by the board here. And that just comes down to some great fiscal management by Mr. Sinclair with the cafeteria fund. It's not something we'll be able to do every year, but it is something we can extend to our families this year. And I think that is something that they'll appreciate as prices have risen drastically in a lot of other areas. As far as technology, Mr. Smith and his team have been extremely busy preparing for next school year, and not only managing that and repairing about 2 million Chromebooks. As I walked in there, I think it was about stacked to the ceiling, Jerry, on those Chromebooks you're repairing for next school year. But they're also dealing with things with in lines with construction. So we appreciate all those efforts. That's something that will continue to benefit our students. One important endeavor they're working on right now is upgrading all our outdated smart boards to interactive TVs. This is exciting times. There's a very powerful instructional tools that will continue to help our teachers engage our students in meaningful and engaging lessons. As far as the transportation department goes, if you drove by the bus lot lately, you may have been slightly blinded, or at least temporarily, by the glare coming off the freshly waxed buses. Ms. Kahefer does an excellent job taking care of our fleet and making sure it stays in tip-top shape. A small crew of some of our drivers and aides waxed every single bus in 2 weeks. I don't know about you, I don't like waxing a small car, so to think about taking on waxing an entire bus fleet seems quite taxing, but they knocked it out in 2 weeks, so kudos to them. Ms. Kafer also wants to extend a big thank you to Ms. Bright and the Dragon Foundation for another successful year of Dragon Pals transportation, and is very thankful for her Dragon Pal drivers. That would be Donna, Kim, Penny, and Roxanne, for keeping the students safe on these extended days throughout the school year. Also want to give a big shout out to Tiffany Bowling. She serves as our bus driver trainer, and she had to train 5 new drivers. So not only is it exciting that we have 5 new drivers, that is outstanding, but we also have someone who we trust to train them. And as you can imagine, that is a very critical, important part of the process to make sure our new drivers feel safe, they feel confident in what they're doing, and Tiffany does an excellent job. On facilities, Mr. Poole has his hands full preparing our buildings for next school year, him and his team, while dealing with construction. Mr. Stewart, who is our new operations facilities laborer, has been a great addition. And a big milestone for the facilities team is we are now pretty much, and I think we're just about a half position short, but we'll say we're pretty much fully staffed at all of our buildings on the operations side. And at the elementary, middle school, and high school, we are all staffed by our own employees. Not long ago, we were about 7 short, and we were having to outsource that. So to have our own employees doing that work, first of all, I think you see better quality work. They take pride in what they do. It means something to be a Dragon, and also that's a cost savings for our district. So that is a huge accomplishment for Mr. Poole and his team. On construction, you may have noticed the high school looks a little different. The construction on both the main high school and our auditorium, so the renovation additions for the high school, the main project and our auditorium is on its way. It's a very exciting time. It's a very challenging time, but it's exciting. I was staying in the sophomore hallway, or what used to be called sophomore hallway. There is no more sophomore hallway. It is just a really neat thing that's going on, but we're just happy that started. It's long overdue, and we're excited. Athletics are still on time. We plan our football season opening up on that new field. Very excited. We're also getting our oxygen, bathrooms, restrooms, and locker rooms remodeled, so that can be in conjunction with that opening. Turf's down, press boxes up, and we'll start seeing the track surface soon enough. There's been a ton of work, and I will say a ton of work, figuring out student displacement for the high school, traffic patterns for our campus, parking. I'm thankful for a very strong team, especially Mr. Poole and Ms. Kahefer for all their hard work. We will ask for patience, we'll probably ask for forgiveness a few times, who knows? But we do feel like we have a confident plan, are confident in our plan as school begins. And construction progress can always be found on our website, and there's a slideshow for each for each project. If you want to see how that's progressing monthly, those also are posted on Facebook when they are updated. And that is all for operation and finance.
Hey, John, I have one question.
I can answer.
Is there any way, or what would be the downfall to, I know every month you go through our starting balances, our expenditures, and our ending balance. What would be the downfall to putting that on the agenda going forward?
Put it on what, I'm sorry?
Putting it on this agenda page going forward. Like, we list everything else out by our claim dockets and the transfers from education operations fund and request to approve over a certain dollar amount. I just didn't know about putting those on the agenda itself.
Or maybe just a printout of the,
Or printout that goes to
the
the
bar
side.
graph that you share with us.
Yeah. Something we can definitely discuss.
Yep, so a couple things. So, yeah, I think for the board consumption of it, the agenda would be great, or a printout. We could also set up a link on our website. The community, that way the community can
I
always
just
click on
always
there.
find
with-
myself writing
that
them
he
down.
could update it. Yeah, so I didn't know what if your purpose was just for the board or if it was more for the
So I can
community
read
as
my own
well.
writing later.
Yeah, we can bring a printout.
Okay.
Glad to.
I have to say, I appreciate the, and I have that in my notes to tell you, the graph that you always send.
Yeah.
And then the notes that you put with it. It's really helps to inform us. And the slide updates to construction. I appreciate that also.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Balmer? Any community input? All right, we have Joan Mattingly here for Power of the Dragon. Miss Mattingly, go ahead and take the podium. Just a reminder, community input, if anybody would like to sign up, you can still sign up until we move on. Susan will have it down at the end. You'll have 3 minutes. Dr. Balmer, if you can time us.
I've passed a folder around to everybody here of the dragon. Is it a myth or in folklore or scientific reality? When you open the folder, there's a picture of a dragon, and from mythology, it told things that it represented on there, like flight. It had the traits of a reptile plus a bird, a supernatural powers, a toxic breath. When I gave a presentation in December, you had a magnifying glass, and we're looking at the dragon, all aspects of a dragon, and our class wants to complete the circle of the dragon, so you understand all the aspects of a dragon. The first and second signs the school's already got on the history of the school, the ethical impact, which involved the behavior, psychological, and moral repercussions. We're wanting to do a third sign, which is number 3, on the cultural and scientific impact. I want to apologize because I should have been here in January, but I had cancer surgery, and this left here in January, and a month later, cancer surgery again. I still have a little problems hearing. My hearing hadn't been affected, and I have 2 more surgeries to go through in January and February, but I'm not letting that stop me from this dragon. Matter of fact, when I was going through the pain, this was a good diversion from my pain, okay? The second page is the power of a dragon. We're going to have if you all approve it, a big sign, and it's going to be horizontal. It's going to be the same size just about as the 2 vertical ones. And it's going to match it. It's going to have a silver frame. And what it's going to do, if you look at it's going to be called the power of the dragon. Just like a school system represents power. This dragon is our mascot. When I pass along a highway, I see these signs, Silver Creek, home of a dragon, Silver Creek, home of a dragon. How can you have a home of a dragon if you don't even know anything about a dragon, huh? Okay, so on the power of a dragon, on this page, it explains the dragon's the center of all of our school life. Along life's journey, all of us should try to make a difference in life. And our class is trying to make a difference for future generations of students. Pardon my voice, I'm a little hoarse.
Yeah, 45 seconds.
Huh?
About 45 seconds left.
Okay. The dragon, in the next part, it tells what it represents in the Eastern Hemisphere, all the countries of the world. In the picture of the dragon, it's going to be shooting flames out of its mouth, and these plasma-colored flames is going to be the 12 things. that the dragon represents all around the world: hidden knowledge, courage, respect, the things that we want our students to have while they're in school and incorporate into their adulthood. In the bottom of it, we're going to be donating this to the teachers, board members, students, business leaders, our alumni class, PTO here. She's kind of behind us in her group. And we're going to end it at the bottom in captions. Whenever people have the power of the dragon, it will enable them to have the courage to follow their dreams and the strength to conquer their fears.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight, and appreciate what you have brought to us here. And it's in line with our 3 minute that we allow for public speaking for our board members. So thank you for your time.
I'd love if you were able to stick around to talk to you more about it after the meeting and enjoy reading more about it. I know you couldn't get through it all in the 3 minute allotment, but that unfortunately that is board policy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Briggs, consent agenda.
Okay, under consent agenda, we have letter A, finances. Under claims, we have numbers 1 through 5. Under number 2, we have numbers 1 and 2. Number 3, number 4, number 5. Under number 5, we have number 1. Under personnel, certified appointments, we have letters A through I. Under number 2, leaves, we have A and B. Under number 3, positions, letter A. Under number 2, classified. Under 1, appointments, letters A through J. Under 2, resignations, A through D. Under 3, terminations, letter A. Under 4, positions, letters A and B. Under letter C, other, we have numbers 1 through 21. And just a couple notes on certified appointments. That would be Kylie Minnie as the 3rd grade teacher. I mispronounced her name earlier. And then also under number 2, leaves, John Bile does have just the 1 position control number. And that is it for consent agenda.
All right, you've heard the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So move.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. At this time, I'd Coach Ryan Wheeler, who was just approved as the next as the baseball coach for Silver Creek High School, called me today and asked me, he wanted to be here. He knows that he'd be given a chance to say something. And unfortunately, with the state party tonight at Hunter Station, he's unable to make it, or asked, our thoughts. And I told him, I said, look, you can just, go be with your team, celebrate, and talk to the players and fans and coaches. But he sent me an email and asked me that I just read this on his behalf. And it says, I'd like to thank the interviewing committee, Miss Oliver, Mr. Dablow, Coach Hoffman, Chris Miles, and Dr. Eckert for their nomination for the head baseball coaching position. Also, thank you to the school board members for your acceptance to become the next baseball coach at Silver Creek High School. I accept this position knowing the expectations for excellence of this program. I've been blessed to be a part of this journey and becoming state champions. I've been a part of the program since 2010, and the goal and expectation then was to win a state championship, and that will not change in the future. I'd like to thank Coach Decker and his family for their dedication to Silver Creek High School baseball student athletes. What an amazing career. Thank you again. Go Dragons. Coach Wheeler. All right. Number 9, under discussion action items. We have B1, which is the structural steel change order package. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
That's so moved.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion needed on the change order? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Also, next up, you have the Calhoun change order. It was in your board packet. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
Also move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion needed? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up under discussion action items number 3 is the approval of the KES electrical work for the modular systems. We have a motion to bring that to the floor.
I also move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Ms. Bright seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up under discussion action item number 4 is the certified position control number 50066, Spanish teacher at Silver Creek High School. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
I so move.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Discussion.
I would like to have a short discussion on that.
Sure.
We know that the numbers are going to come today where there's a true need for this position. But I would like to go back to the recommendation of the superintendent and building principal. If we've got staff to cover these slots, is this really the best thing for us to do at this time?
My thought is the original recommendation by Dr. Eckert was to bring on the Spanish teacher, but at that time, we didn't know that our finances could handle it. But as Dr. Balmer realized later, due to an error, we actually do have the funds to cover it. So I feel like we should go with that original recommendation.
I agree with the hiring of the Spanish teacher.
If we don't hire or there's nobody available in the interim, what is the backup plan? If no one is found in the time that school starts?
Yep, if this is approved this evening, we would post it as early as tomorrow. Yeah, I would recommend that if we do not find a viable, qualified candidate, that we maintain the master schedule as set now.
Okay.
What is your recommendation to the board?
My recommendation is to maintain the set schedule that we have established. I think that we have qualified individuals who are licensed in it. We're talking a short term in terms of potentially up to a year. It gives our new hopefully will be our new principal and our new secondary curriculum director time to assess the situation moving forward. And yeah, my recommendation has not changed.
And so with that recommendation, what is the time frame that the library will have a certified librarian in there with our students?
Without having the master schedule, it's having a certified librarian in there, it would be greatly reduced than what it would be otherwise.
And this also impacts the high ability students that Matt Horton is currently working with, because he'd be asked to teach Spanish as well, correct?
Well, there's been discussion outside of my office about what his schedule would look like and plans that might be hashed out with the high ability, but I do not have specifics on that as I have not been a part of that conversation. But will be as we move forward, as Mrs. Kaufman and I have discussed that in terms of getting with our secondary curriculum director and myself and looking at the ideas they have.
So what I'll say is we had a work session where I felt like this was in the best interest of students to move forward. And that seems to have shifted a little bit this evening, which is a little frustrating and confusing. But I will say openly, I don't feel like this is in the best interest of our students. The programming, I mean, if we hire directors of curriculum to come on because we want to see a curriculum drive behind these programs, this goes directly against what we're trying to accomplish.
And I would just say, I'm going to reiterate what I did in the work session, that typically I wouldn't get in the weeds on a hiring position like this, but I feel like as a board that we, in our first years of coming on, that we were very adamant about wanting to really vamp up our ESL and high ability programs. And I feel like this particular position would hamper that because it would take the teachers that we have now in those positions away from what they're doing. Would you mind, Chris, doing a roll call vote on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So I have a couple more questions before we go to the roll call, if you don't mind. So you say greatly reduced. But if we're talking about for a certified librarian, there would be two sections of Spanish, correct? So it'd be, for those two sections, would there be a certified teacher that would be put in there to be able to help with students and still keep that library open?
So there would be two sections of Spanish, plus there would be a section of prep.
Okay,
So that would be 3 of the 8.
so 3 of the 8.
How that will be covered, I do not know. Dr. Eckert and I had discussed that he would anticipate that it could be covered, but he did not tell me individuals of who. That would be something that the new principal would have to address immediately before school starts.
Sure.
So we have Miss Kramer here. Can she come to the mic? I have some questions. You're the librarian that's going to be back into the classroom teaching Spanish, correct? I have some direct questions for her.
Somebody asked you to speak, absolutely.
So I just want to make sure you're currently the librarian in the library, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so this is going to impact the library and your schedule the most significantly, correct, with regards to the transition?
Yes.
Okay. So I know you've been here previously and you went through the programming before that will be significantly reduced. So it will not be available to our students based upon the schedule change and the not hiring of this teacher, which goes far beyond just the library being open. So can you go through that again and explain what will not occur? Because I know our therapy dog program's impacted. There's several ESL student groups that come in there and you will not be assisting them. So can you go through that again, please?
Well, let me preface it by saying one of the biggest concerns initially was lunch. I mean, I was really committed. I know that doesn't sound like a library program, but we have a large number of our kids who are on the fringes, I guess I would say, or don't really fit in well. And that was resolved. So I will say I'm very thankful that we have the library open for lunch under the new schedule. That being said, my understanding in the conversations with Dr. Eckert was the hope was that on the classes that I taught, they would have a substitute in there. The problem is when I'm not in there, when I'm not available, I can't go teach. I don't think people understand. I don't just check out books. So I go to classes and I teach, and I go in when they're doing research papers and I go over, a lot of things over digital literacy, how to do different things with finding credible resources, all kinds of things. So of the classes, academic classes, when academic classes are meeting, 40% of those classes, 42%, I think it is, of those classes, I can't remember, I think it's 42% of those classes, I will not be able to ever teach because I will not be available during those classes. Does that make sense? So even if we get a sub in there to cover, and it's not going to change. It's not like I can go this time and then that time because it's the classes that are offered during those blocks. When I'm available, I will never be available to go teach them. Okay. There's only one other person in the library that's a certified, I believe, that is a licensed librarian, and that's Amanda Albrand, and she has a full schedule. So that's a huge concern for me because I do go out and do that a lot.
And then you were asked to teach this because you have the Spanish license. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And we are talking Spanish 101.
I'm teaching Spanish 1. I have 2 classes and I'm teaching Spanish 1 and Spanish 2.
Okay.
I have not taught Spanish in over a decade. I gave away all of my supplies because I made a choice to leave the classroom. I mean, for me, this is not I'm telling you, I'm the type of person, if you tell me to go in there, I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to slack. But there was a reason I chose to leave. And, I know short term, years a long time, when you have to start from scratch. I'll be a first year teacher in a lot of ways with this.
And I know you do a good job with the food pantry, and I know you speak Spanish to them. I know you're fluent with it, correct? And
The Spanish is not an issue.
Right. And I also just asked, were you explained, is this a full-time thing going forward, or just like maybe just an interim until we figure out the master schedule?
Full-time.
I'm asking what she was told.
My understanding is that if we do not post the position, you're going to have to help me, Dr. Brooks, because I'm really not sure. My understanding is that if we don't post this position, this is for the whole year. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
if we don't hire another licensed Spanish teacher that we may or may not know as of now, then yes, because it's going to be a hard position to fill. That is one reason why I'm asking the board tonight to approve or not approve it, because I would like to get it posted yesterday if we are in fact going to post it. And then, like I say, with the new principal coming on, he will give his input. Now, it does take a little time to gather that information from his perspective. And that's why what's different from our work session, as we had discussed as potential moving forward, was that if we're going to do this, we need to do it now and not wait until after the 4th of July or July 11th, because we're already kind of behind.
And Ms. Franklin, as far as all the programming, I can run through, we do the Christmas program where we get sponsors for our students. And they cut, we take students who are in need. We solicit that from the parents. We get people in the community who will cover that. We get the gifts ready. We distribute them. We do a gift shop. These are things on top of what you think of as a regular librarian. Obviously, I'm also in charge of the distribution, the circulation, classes come all the classes come in. English classes come in about every 2 weeks, every English class. Now that will something might have to give a little bit with that, where I do a lot of book recommendations and book talks with them and all of that. That will change a little bit. I do special programming. We do projects. All the special programming stuff are things that I do that I think makes our library very unique. I'll be honest, I don't know very many libraries around that do what we do. But I think I can tell you that one thing I'm very proud of that we've managed to do there is our library, and I'm going to get emotional because our library is a place where these kids who don't fit in anywhere fit in. And we see that reflected during our flex, during our lunch, between passing periods. When we've got a kid that the first day of school, the principal actually loses it with and kicks out of a senior class meeting, okay, because he's, and that's the kid that's coming in between every single class just to calm down, pet the dog, all of that. And we graduate him and he walks across that stage of success. That's the kind of stuff, and I can't tell you what that program is called. I can just tell you that it's the environment and it's the culture that we've established, and I think it's huge. It's so important to our school. But as far as percentages, I will tell you that I've met with the teachers union, or what do we call it? Not union.
SCTA?
Yeah. The association. I met with the association. The big concern for me is going to be what is my job now? Because if I'm not in that library for 40% of the time, what 40% am I no longer responsible for? How am I going to be evaluated? Because my evaluation form is not a teacher evaluation form. It's completely different. And I will tell you that the very first thing that I'm going to fight for is that I want you to take away the responsibility that's coming down from the state. Because right now, that's a huge amount on my shoulders. The librarian is going to be ultimately responsible for the books that English teachers are reading, for the circulation in the library, what books we have. There is so much coming down with this. And I will tell you that if I'm losing 40% of my time in that library, that's the first thing I'm going to beg for, to have taken off my plate and put on somebody else's. I don't know what else.
Well, I certainly thank you for your input. I'll just reiterate here tonight that, we did receive a lot of public feedback from this when this was, kind of presented to the community. To consider ourselves one of the best, elite school districts in, the area, if not the state, but to take away, this resource for our students in our high school is, to me, just absolutely unacceptable, especially if we have the financial resources and capability of being able to provide it. I think you have to stick to what's in the best interest of students and not get into a power struggle here about what we're going to do and the decision we're going to make. And I just hope we can all stay focused on that tonight.
Well, I also go back to, there's a recommendation from the superintendent, because he's went through this not only with the previous principal, but also he's, potentially looking forward to, if the new principal comes in, he can look at not only this position, but also look at the master planning. So I think there's quite a few things. And again, to reiterate what Rachel said, is a lot of times we don't get involved with this type of hiring position. At the same time, Rachel made a note in the last board meeting that typically when a position like this is available, if someone has that on their license, that is typically the first step to go to, is ask somebody with that on their license to teach, if I'm speaking correctly there, Rachel. So, but that's my point there.
I'll just say that Dee, I don't take anything away from what you do. I really don't. You do a phenomenal job in our school corporation. But again, going back to the point that trying to follow the superintendent's recommendation as a school board, typically in our duties, we don't get involved in this. So I lean more towards siding with our superintendent because he has a plan. I also know that we have hired, or we have not. We will be voting on hiring a principal tonight that has a lot of experience with in high school, that has the experience of having 1,900 students and multiple staffs and working around a schedule. I would love to give them the opportunity to look at this and make it I don't see this as being a long-term deal at all. We know that we're eventually going to need more teachers with the class sizes that we have coming up. But I would at least like to give them the option based on the superintendent's recommendation of looking at this schedule, getting their arms wrapped around it. If that's in September, if that's in October, for him to come in and say, we really need this position and here's why, I've got this whole plan worked out, then I'm all for it. Okay. Anything else before we go to roll call vote?
Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to say, so that it's not taken out of context. When all this came up as a discussion about this position, I was asked, about the procedures and if this was normal to look at teachers' licenses to see what they have on them. Obviously, I'm in education, so I know that to be true. But this isn't black and white. The positions that would be impacted are these people handle programs and our ESL and our high ability to a degree that as a board, we do have that power to say we want that to continue if we believe that's in the best interest of our students. And I full-heartedly believe that we need to keep our teachers that are in the positions that they are in the ones that they are now, and not to change the schedule and to hire this Spanish teacher. Due to the programming that they offer, the safe place, the social emotional learning, the media literacy, our students today deeply need media literacy. I mean, that should be at the top of the list. And not to mention the high ability programming that we're trying to vamp up and how this would impact it if we don't hire a Spanish teacher. So I am in full support of hiring a Spanish teacher, and I believe this is a situation where we as a board do need to get in the weeds and do need to stand up for these positions to stay as they are and to hire a Spanish teacher.
I'll also say too that when the public comes to us as trustees, because they're concerned about culture change, they're concerned about the best interests of students, that it is our job to have discussions. We had a work session. We had a plan in place. That's why this item is on the list tonight. That's why this is created tonight, was because out of that discussion and some of the people that were in that meeting, and that was a public meeting, was because that was what was agreed to do in that meeting, in that work session. Now tonight it's changed, which is concerning. And when you start changing culture, when you start changing things that affect our students directly, that's when a lot of people become very unhappy. And that's very, very concerning. You have teachers here tonight that are shaking their head in agreement because everything that is being said up here is true. And and the truth of it is how it's going to affect kids. And that's really, really concerning.
Anything else?
Yeah, just real quick to her point, how it's going to affect the kids. I think it's very important that we think about how it's going to affect those kids that are on the line, so to speak, socially and emotionally. And again, what a safe place that is being offered to them now. And then that's the last thing I'll add.
Anything else? All right, we'll go to roll call vote for the approval of position control number 50066, Spanish teacher at Silver Creek High School. Mr. Basham,
Nay.
Ms. Bright,
Yes.
Ms. Franklin,
Yes.
Mr. Groen,
Nay.
and I am a nay. Motion fails 2-3. Next up, under discussion action items, request for approval, agreement for the naming rights of Silver Creek High School football, soccer, softball complex, and baseball complex. We have a motion to bring this to the floor.
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Backham seconds. Any discussion needed?
Does this also need to state on there? I mean, I know it says football, soccer, but that's also considered track.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the, said football, soccer.
Just want to make sure it's clear.
Just to kind of give anybody out there, the agreement for the naming rights is with Hunter Station Pizza Company. They have offered Silver Creek School Corporation a donation of $150,000 over a 5-year period of time, $30,000 per year, for the naming rights of the Silver Creek. It's for the Hunter Station Pizza Sports Complex. And this is pending, of course, the illegal approval of the contract. This just basically approves the company and also approves the dollar amount. And then we'll just have our attorney look at their contract. They would also start the part of this process also requires them to provide and pay for signage for the complex in their agreement.
That sign is also, and that signage does include the electrical, or is that a piece that they have to?
Does it include
They have to provide the electrical?
Well,
to the
we
sign?
should have the electrical,
Okay.
but if
Yeah,
it needs to
electrical
go
should
to
be-
the sign, then yes.
Okay.
Installation.
Okay.
The installation would be on them.
Okay.
Anything from you, Dr. Briggs, in addition to what I just said?
Yes, I would add, I know Chris and I discussed before the meeting, do we want to give ourselves the flexibility of naming one of the fields in the future if we ever want to dedicate to an individual
Like in honor or memory?
in honor of
Right.
XYZ? Is that something that that we want to just put the language in there that says we would obviously talk with the Hunter Station about that? And I just
Yeah, is that something that could be, instead of saying baseball field, this is named, well, yeah, this is the complex of the baseball stadium, and then that way we can say the field is named after, or a field is named after.
Yeah, when Mr. Fox and Mr. Lawrence gave their presentation at the work session 2 weeks ago, I think their idea was the Hunter Station Pizza Sports Complex. I personally would like to reserve any kind of field, in honor of or memory of in the future, if we ever wanted to do a field, would be something different. This would just be more like stadium
Gotcha.
and complex, but
I apologize, I wasn't there for the last work session you guys had, so I want to make sure I catch up and I'm clear on everything.
Yeah, I think the awkward in naming this is when you look at our football area, it's obvious there's a stadium, there's a field. When you look at our softball area, I'm not so sure it's obvious there's a softball stadium. It's just a softball field. It's more of a baseball field. So I think that I would like, Chris is here from Hunter Station. If we put the signage in say baseball, softball, the Hunter Station Pizza Company Sports Complex, then that would leave open the opportunity to name the field. But if we call the baseball field the Hunter Station Pizza Company field,
Right.
and the way
Can we
the
call Chris up here? Chris, you want to come up here to the mic?
and the way the draft is currently written, it does say athletic complex and then in parentheses or stadium or field. So I kind of put that on Chris's mind as he walked in this evening. So I'm sure he's had
yeah,
a
Chris,
chance.
how you feel about it? What are your thoughts?
When we broke it down based on certain amounts for certain fields, so to speak, when the breakout is fields for baseball field, breakout for softball field, breakout for football, soccer, and the track and field. That was all different brackets based on those fields naming rights.
Sure.
So it was just kind of brought to me a few minutes before we walk into the meeting tonight. So something that we have to take in consideration.
Yeah, and I guess, and maybe, I don't know, I'm looking at, I don't have a whole lot of experience in this stuff from
Sure.
a high school perspective. You know, I guess you think of it as from a,
Basketball.
maybe more college or whatnot,
Yeah.
but, you could have the Yum Center is sponsored by the Yum Center, but the court is Denny Crum Court, or, Jim Patterson Stadium, and the field may be named after somebody else. Maybe that's just what's in my head, Hunter Station Pizza, stadium.
And it's gonna be
then
blasted
It just
everywhere.
reserves the right that.
Sure. And I'll tell you, the only thing that I have to go back and revisit is just like signage, for example, for the football stadium, right? It's an additional $4,000 on us just on signage because it's 300 inches wide. And I was talking to Dr. Briggs about that before, right? So every time we deviate kind of away from that, every one of those fields will require signage, right? So that just increases the cost plus installation. So if we're committing $5,000 to a baseball field for naming rights for a baseball field, or $5,000 for a softball field, plus we're putting $2,000 to $3,000 on top of that in signage, in addition to all the other in-kind stuff that we do. It's just
Chad, I think you're right. I mean, I guess I've heard people say, hey, we're going to the football stadium. When you think about high school baseball, people always say, let's go to the baseball field or the softball field.
well, like we were at Victory Field,
Correct.
Right.
last Friday.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I guess in baseball and softball, that's probably a more accurate term. It's the field where, they don't look at it as, this is Victory Stadium and whatnot. So I never thought of it from that
that's a good way to look at it.
perspective. I just had the question of, do we still reserve the right or keep the ability that, like we have the Mike Crabtree, tennis courts. It's not the tennis complex, it's the tennis courts, from the standpoint of, he won 28 sectionals or whatever it was. And so that was my only question.
I mean, I think us, pretty well. We're passionate about helping the school corporation.
Sure.
We'll work with you guys, whatever we want to do. We just want to make sure we're making a solid financial commitment.
Less about the signage, but thank you so much for
Absolutely.
your commitment to our students here and to our school district. What you and Nick do for our community and for our students, and what you're going to bring through this commitment. It's not necessarily about the signs or the money. I mean, I know several of the things that you have, laid out that you want to do. I'm just really looking forward to that networking relationship with you. Hopefully will, always be something that you really want to be a part of here. I apologize that your part of this evening came after a really tense kind of moment, but this is really something to celebrate. This is a big deal for our school district. And I just really am glad to have you a part of this. I just already know what you do so much for our schools, just in T-shirts, jackets, food. You've helped our PALS program. And so I'm just really thankful for you, and I'm thankful for Nick and for the partnership. So thanks for
appreciate
being here
that.
tonight.
Yeah. And
So tonight at the pizza restaurant, there's 315 people there to celebrate the boys baseball team, including 6 media outlets out there as well. So
I'm sorry you had to miss that.
it's okay. I'm getting texts by the minute.
And I also wanted to say thank you as well, because this is something that's unprecedented in the area, and we truly appreciate you stepping up and doing this. At the end of the day, you're not just helping one section of the community, it's everybody there. And I know how much stuff, like Chrissy said, that you've got written out, that what you're planning on doing, and it's huge. And honestly, I can't wait to actually have something else besides a hot dog. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I personally couldn't think of a better partner to
Yes.
partner with than you guys. They've, kind of under the radar for the last few years. You've just done so much that a lot of people have noticed that maybe the public hasn't noticed. So giving you the recognition of a sign.
We appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
We have 3 kids in the school district, and obviously they're all at the primary. So I don't think we're going anywhere for the next 10 years plus years. So, we're happy to support the school corporation.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Thank
Any
you so
other
much.
questions or discussion?
It's very much appreciated.
thanks, Rachel.
All right. Hearing no other questions or discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is consider the appointment of the corporation treasurer effective 6/26 of 2023. Do we have a motion to bring that to the floor?
So move.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
My second.
Ms. Bright seconds. Any discussion?
I have just a comment. Sure. So our new corporation treasurer is Allison Vanover, which is a current employee that is a transfer. However, at your guys' reorganization meeting every January, you do vote to appoint the corporation treasurer. And since she is someone new in that position, that's why this is on the agenda.
Yeah, we're not, I'm sorry, we're not voting to approve the position. We're voting to approve her as our corporation treasurer for the.
That's
our
correct.
corporation.
Yep.
Same thing we would do in
Yeah,
January.
yeah, it's just an organization.
Sorry, I guess I should have mentioned that. I didn't make that. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up, discussion action items number 7, the appointment of Dr. Rob Willman as the Silver Creek High School principal, position control number 50000, effective 7/1 of 2023. Do we have a motion for approve?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion?
I'll just say all the feedback I've had this past weekend has been positive. People from Floyd County say we're getting a good person here.
I'm here. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Briggs, you have a statement?
Yes, I have a statement from Dr. Willman here. Dr. Briggs, President Roundtree, and members of the Silver Creek School Corporation Board of Trustees, it is with great honor that I accept your offer in becoming the next principal of Silver Creek High School. I apologize for not being there with you tonight. I am on a vacation with my family. I am excited that the next part of my educational journey has brought me to a place that is currently thriving and optimistic about the future. Over the past few weeks, I have heard over and over how much I will love the people I will work with, the students, the teachers, the support staff, the central office staff, and the parents. As many of you know, I have been fortunate for the last 24 years to be at Floyd Central High School in a variety of capacities. I know the culture and the stakeholders quite well. Coming to Silver Creek will afford me the invigorating opportunity to learn a new culture. It will better allow me to model that of a lifelong learner. I hope to help move Silver Creek forward on their journey, starting first by reinforcing the district core values of respect, excellence, and integrity. Thank you again for your belief in me. You will get everything I have. Dr. Willman.
Awesome. All right, next up, discussion action item 8, the approval in the interest of purchasing property resolution, partial number 10-17-11-006.000-0031. Motion to bring that to the floor.
So move.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any comments do we have? Jerry, anything?
Good, thank you, sir.
You're good? Dr. Briggs?
Okay. Again, condolences to the Pappenhouse family on the loss of Mr. Pappenhouse. Congrats to our state championship baseball team and Coach Decker. It was very exciting to watch them on that tournament run. Great job to all of our operations staff, as Dr. Bommer alluded to. They've been doing a great job. Also great job to Dr. Bommer and his leadership of operations and our school finance. And yeah, the website he's created is quite impressive. Even I can get on there and understand and navigate everything. And then congrats to Hunter Station Pizza Company. Looking forward to our partnership for years to come. That's it.
Gotcha. Dr. Bomber?
Yeah, again, just to ditto that, it was an awesome and exciting game to watch up there at Victory Field, and to say that our Dragons just played with heart and well coached, and kudos for ending a career in such a special way to Coach Decker and his team. It really was an amazing game to watch. Just hope everybody's enjoying their summer break and staying safe out there. And again, we do definitely appreciate the partnership with Hunter Station. Just want to remind everybody, I know it's exciting to see the construction going on, but we are under construction, so please be mindful of that. We are asking people to kind of make sure you're staying out of the construction zones. The field currently is still construction zones. We're just asking our public to be mindful of that. There will be time and opportunity to see the new fields and new facilities, but just be mindful. We want everybody to stay safe out there. Thank you.
Mr. Basham?
Yeah, I'll just go along the same line. It's been a long time coming, but it's nice to see the building coming down.
Ms. Bright,
I don't have anything.
Ms. Franklin, Mr. Grom.
Congratulations again to Coach Decker, Coach Gibson. His team did a good job as well. The ladies softball team. Congratulations to Hunter Station Pizza and Dr. Willman. Welcome to Silver Creek.
Yeah, I'll echo those sentiments. Congratulations to our baseball team. Phenomenal run. Great job. Hunter Station, as I said, I think he may have already left to go to the party, but I just don't know that we could find a better local partner. Dr. Wellman, welcome. Congratulations. I think we're very lucky to get somebody of that magnitude and that experience. And lastly, I'll just say, John Bowell, we're thinking and praying of you, buddy. So at this next meeting, July 11th, the regular school board meeting here at the Silver Creek Elementary School GPR at 6:30. July 11th, we'll also have an executive session to follow that school board meeting here at the GPR, or maybe in the other room if we're cleaning up.
Probably in here, just due to the number, it'll be
Okay.
our strategic planning.
Gotcha. Okay. July 25th, regular school board meeting at the middle school at 6:30. And then August 8th, our regular school board meeting here back at the elementary school at 6:30. This time, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I still move.
Ms. Bright makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned 7:31.